I'm Tommy Cows, and this is Dragonheart. There you go.
Hello and welcome to the first Dragonheart of the season. And Mark, I am right in thinking that this is the first Dragonheart in the Football League ever.
It is. Whoa, what a time to be alive.
A fantastic time. You may or may not be able to tell, this is the second take. So...
Well, they wouldn't have been able to tell if you hadn't said. No. I mean, obviously, how many times have you watched something and thought, well, I bet there's been a take of this before?
On bloopers.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll be releasing the first take on Dragonheart After Dark.
Yikes, that's cool, isn't it? I wonder if, unlike the first take, you're going to introduce yourself and us.
Yes,
In this second take, I will be introducing. I am Bill Long, this is Neil Williams, and this is Mark Griffiths. We're going to be talking a little bit about the US tour, which was a roaring success for the most part. We're going to have a little talk about transfers, kit reviews, and our little season preview, especially matches coming up with MK Dons starting on Saturday. This is Dragonheart.
I'm Luke Young, and this is Dragonheart.
Before we get started, guys, how excited are we for the new season?
May or April seems such a long time ago. I mean, it's been a long couple of months, and waiting for this season to start. You know, back in the Football League, it's such a great feeling that we actually got back to League Two, which we haven't been since 2008. So I'm sure the fans on Saturday will be all anticipating, a great game again. I really can't wait till Saturday. I mean, it's like Christmas, isn't it?
It is. It's funny. I've never had a season that's lasted 3 years before, or at least it felt like it last year because of the tension, and then that like waiting period seems to have just carried on, doesn't it, Mark? It's dragged.
It's mad, isn't it? I mean, I'm wondering whether next year it won't feel quite so pressured because we no longer have that thing of being lower than we should be.
Yeah.
And also that sense we had in the last couple of seasons, because Stockport and Notts County was so good, of every drop point is a disaster.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've got a league where 3 teams go up automatically, then there's playoffs, there's 4 spots going up, and I like those maths. It now feels like, don't get me wrong, I want us to get 113 points, but I like the idea of, okay, we drew at home, it's not a disaster.
Yeah, exactly, and I think you could make a very good case for the fact that us and Notts County had record-breaking seasons because we had to fight for that first spot. Yeah. Fair play to Notts County for getting through the playoffs, but it's not a given, even if you're finishing this kind of season that they had, as we knew from when we finished on 98 points. So it does make me wonder whether this year we will quite reach the heights in terms of points as we did last year, because okay, like you say, if we draw a game, we can still finish third. You could come to the end of the season, a lot of our international listeners might not know if you don't know the Football League, but quite often, same happens with the Premier League. Championship teams going up to the Premier League, people don't really care whether they're champions or not, do they? They just want to get promoted, so finishing third is as valuable as finishing first, really.
Absolutely. I would say, though, I'd be astonished if we got to 3 figures in terms of points.
Yeah.
I think we're a great team. I have every faith in this side, and I'm confident about our promotion chances as well. But we are up a division, and although I think the bottom end of League 2 is quite weak, the top end isn't. I mean, look on Saturday. Milton Keynes were in League 1 last year. Okay, they didn't have a good campaign. Yeah. They brought in a couple of good players, and you sort of look. That's the sort of level of sides we're looking to overcome. Plus, Notts County and Stockport County. I love that some of the narrative is going to be great.
They are, aren't they?
They've got a proper rivalry with Notts County and Stockport County now. Grimsby after that playoff.
Yeah. And then you've got our actual traditional geographical local teams like Crewe and Tranmere that we're going to be playing. That really spices things up. It's a much more interesting division, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We've all been, I think, kind of like the way I look at the National League is a little bit like Stockholm Syndrome. Like I fell in love with a lot of aspects of the National League because we were there for so long. We'd been held hostage, or it felt like we'd been held hostage. and you start to see the charm in some of these clubs. But now we're actually going to be going to proper football grounds every week, aren't we?
Maybe not everyone's going to proper football ground. There may be one or two that's quite not going to name them, but
Yeah, fair Neil. But those are teams that we've seen.
They have. They definitely have. Yeah, definitely 3 of them have. Yeah, definitely so.
That's really specific. We'll let you figure out who the 3 are.
It's funny to mention Stockholm syndrome because I was in Stockholm last week, and I've got to be honest and say it didn't remind me of Hyde at all.
Of what?
Hyde.
Oh, right.
That was
God.
Geisley. I should have said Geisley.
I'd actually forgotten about Hyde as a club. It took me a second to process. But anyone who hasn't been to Hyde, their ground is literally built on on the side of a leisure centre. So
Stockholm was more aesthetically pleasing.
than Hyde, fair.
I won't say any more about Stockholm because I don't want to let the cat out the bag in terms of our transfer targets.
You've been on Hunter, haven't you?
No.
Yeah, you've been right throughout Sweden, and you're just viewing every team play and looking for a new striker for the team.
Well, I've been up and down Sweden reviewing stuff, certainly.
Anyway, going back to the Football League, I think that this season the pressure's off us.
Or is it?
No, no. I mean, we've got to the Football League, and I think that pressure that Mullin said, time and time again that they do feel that pressure. But I think now the pressure will be far less. Every game is going to be. There's some bigger clubs in this league. Look at Bradford. They have 18,000 home games. There's some big teams in there. But I genuinely feel that the pressure's off us. We've got a good enough squad to basically continue where we left off last season. And as you said, the odd loss or draw, it's not going to be the end of the day, And somebody said to me, it'd be interesting, if the fans start moaning if we make a few losses. And I think, no, we've got to find our feet, in this league, and we'll be playing stronger opposition. But as Mark said, the lower end of League 2 is very similar to the top end of the National League. There's not a huge difference in playing ability between those two halves of the leagues. But the tough half are going to be tough, as you mentioned, like the Stockports, the Tranmeres, the Bradfords, Grimsby. They're all going to be tough games. But we went through all last season at the racecourse without losing, and with the fans behind us at the racecourse, I can see us, hopefully carrying on that. Even if we draw on Saturday, MK Dons is going to be a huge test for us because, as Mark said, they've come down a league and we've gone up a league. So in reality, this time last year, we were two leagues apart. So
it's really interesting because the year we got relegated, they went up to League One, and now we've met each other back in the same position, which it's a strange little narrative, isn't it?
And we don't have a great history against them either, I don't think.
They don't have a great history, do they, really?
No, but as in games played, I think we've only won one.
Won one, drawn one,
and lost four. Yeah.
I have a particular bee in my bonnet with MK Dons.
Yeah, we all do,
again,
don't we?
for a relegation, as well as what you're saying, 2-0.
Yeah.
Because I sort of feel like inadvertently they started off our decline into non-league, because when we were relegated in 2005, we actually finished 5 points above relegation, but had 10 points taken off us for going into administration. Long story I've told many times, but basically I felt that we should have won that appeal because we had a different reason from normal. We entered administration to save our club. MK Dons was the side that benefited from that because they would have gone down if we had another 10 points off. That's not their fault. No. But I still feel
there's a niggle there, isn't it, Mark? There's a niggle there.
Exactly. And we don't need to go into it in great detail on this podcast, but there are other avenues if you want to learn a little bit about MK Dons, and you will find that they're not particularly the most liked club in the country, I think is fair to say.
Especially when we play Wimbledon the following Saturday away.
Yeah, that's really, it's
which is really spooky.
This next week is absolutely full of narratives, isn't it?
And at some point they're obviously going to be playing each other in the league as well, which,
Yeah, but I think gun to your head scenario.
Stockholm syndrome again.
Stockholm syndrome again. Where do you see us finishing by the end of the season? I know it's very early to say, and transfer activity's been a bit slow so far, but
Lowest point in the playoffs, but I can see us getting in the automatic promotion.
yeah, I think I'm in the same sort of position as you, Neil. How are you feeling, Mark?
I feel confident. Not as confident as I am in Neil's pig that he's going to be showing tomorrow.
I didn't say I was confident in that.
Well, you should. Show pride in your pig.
I do show pride in the pig, yes.
What are you going to do when you get home tonight?
I've been training around the field for the last few weeks.
What? Training
Yeah.
around the field?
Yep. Make sure she walks in a straight line, holds her head up,
Nice.
you
Put a book
know,
on
showing
her head.
herself up, you know, yeah, go
So
put a book on her head,
finishing
yep, yep, exactly, yep.
So, and what are you going to do tonight when you get back from recording this?
You brought this up too early. You should have been an end. I've got to go and shampoo the pig before I take it to the show tomorrow at Burberton, which is in South Shropshire, voted the best agricultural one-day show in the country. And then I've got to do it all again on Saturday at Oswestry.
And still go to the game.
And still go to the game on Saturday.
Commitment,
That's just dedication.
Oh, I know. After shampooing, I've got to oil her up so she shines.
Okay. Too much information there.
Glazed pig.
You can actually get special pig oil.
Pig oil.
And you rub it over so she glistens. Would you like some, Mark?
Oh man,
Was that your big impression?
Oh man, bit of pig oil, bit of pepper.
Yep.
Oh, lovely.
Stick a Wrexham scarf.
And as you know, I've got to get home before dark because I've got no electricity in Witches. So
Exactly. Yeah. You'll never be able to find.
I'll have to use my torchlight on my phone.
Ball that you dropped on.
So genuinely, Mark, where do you think we'll finish up this season?
I think we'll finish third or fourth.
Oh,
Well, that's key, isn't it?
that's very
Who will be ahead of
Oh,
us then in the league?
We'll come second. Notts County will win it. We'll come
You reckon?
second. Just for a laugh. Just let them have it. You
Okay.
know, they let us have last one.
It's been really interesting to see that it's almost become like the football hipster opinion to think Notts County are going to finish above us,
Yeah.
because there's that perception. And do not get me wrong, I've got a hell of a lot of admiration for Notts County as a team. They ran us, incredibly close last year. If not for a Ben Foster penalty save in the dying minutes, could have won the league last year. Let's be honest, if they'd have got that point and then the way results went after that, who knows? But I just don't understand where this narrative comes from, that they're this free-flowing tiki-taka side that are going to steamroll League Two, and we're gonna falter. I mean, actually, on evidence, us against better in quotation marks teams, we've been more successful. We had a good cup run, and they didn't particularly. Which maybe they didn't take the cup so seriously, but I just think our style of football suits playing against teams that are better than us.
I have a question about Stockport as well. You can tell now that I've given no thought to where we'd finish, because now I'm going to disagree with myself. Stockport stuttered at the end of the season, I thought that we did well, sort of blotting out the twin threats of Bostock and Rodriguez and that box midfield. And I don't know if we were the first ones to think of it, but the teams that played them after that did it, and did it really effectively, and they went from, if you will, tiki-taka to being a bit stodgy and passing too slowly and struggling to break teams down. And Langstaff was criticised for not scoring much at the end of the season, but to be fair to him, the supply was cut off him.
Yeah.
And I just wonder whether that's going to be something that they'll find difficult again next season.
Yeah.
Have they replaced Rodriguez?
Well, they
He's
brought
got
in the
lots of
Goldrick, haven't they? So it's a different type of player, but
Yeah, they didn't
quality player.
have a plan B, did they, when they played against us at all? You know, we shut everything down and they just didn't know what to do. They scored their 2 goals from set pieces, really, didn't they?
And the free kick shouldn't have
been a free kick.
Yeah. Williams has done a brilliant job as manager with them, but it's a bit of a challenge now to see if he can adjust things a little. And you could argue the high line by the end of the season was something that teams were exploiting. Now I know that's always possible with a high line, and we've seen things like when Klopp's Liverpool at their peak got destroyed by Aston Villa. It's a high risk approach, but I would argue Liverpool don't get picked apart that much. I know last season maybe a bit because it wasn't. Klopp acknowledges it's not quite right for them, but I just wonder whether that desire to play that particular way, he's so wedded to it that cute teams could exploit them like we did in that game.
I saw a Stockport fan talking online. I can't remember if it was Twitter or somewhere else, but they were saying that the top somewhere between 6 and 8 of the National League are of very similar quality to everybody else in League Two, but every single team in League Two is at least that quality, and they beat everyone just like we beat everyone. So it's hard to say too much, but that you could, like that game against Chesterfield in the playoffs. If it were not for the Chesterfield players just running out a little bit of steam, they were the better side for 120 minutes of that game. I thought, not to criticise Notts County because they went and got the job done, but I thought you get that a team like Chesterfield can do that to them, but they're playing teams like that every week. How are they going to cope? I think they'll do perfectly fine. I just don't like that narrative that we're going to do worse than them automatically because suddenly that it's like a popular to be like, oh yeah, but Notts County play really nice football, so.
Well, looking at Stockport in the playoffs, I mean, they look good, but that's the sort of standard of the best team that they didn't go up last season, and they didn't look particularly different from when they played against us.
No.
Which was a high standard. I mean, I'm not being critical at all, but that's the level we've been playing at. We're a better team now than we were then.
Yeah.
So, could be interesting.
Yeah.
It will be very interesting. The test will come on Saturday. You see, it's going to be a tough test, I think, on Saturday.
Massively, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then after that game, we move on Tuesday to our glorious return to the
Carabao Cup.
The Carabao Cup.
Carabao.
Playing our first fixture at the Stoke Kairas for a cup game against Wigan, who, am I right in saying they've just come down from the Championship?
Have yet.
Under
Under the massive new floodlights. All be well.
The massive new floodlights. That would be nice, wouldn't it, to see them in action, to see what. It'd be nice to actually see the opposite corner to wherever.
There was a few times that we did say that part of the pitch looks really dark.
Do you know what? I never really understood why everyone used to complain being sat behind the goal, but I suppose we're under sort of some floodlights. Maybe we've got the light there. The game against Yeovil at the very end of last year, the last night game under those floodlights, I was sat in the I can't remember the sponsor's name, Wrexham stand. There we go. And I definitely started to understand why some people can't see, because there was a couple of corners. I'm like, who's on the ball there? Anthony Ford scored. No, it was Anthony Ford in that case, but yeah, weird one. Well, after this, we're going to go back in time a little bit and talk about the US tour.
I'm Mia Roberts, and this is Dragonheart.
The US tour, what an experience for the players and everybody who managed to get out there, and the international, the American fans, but I know some people who come from other parts of the world too, watching the US. Very jealous of everyone who got out there.
Very hot while we're out there as well.
Very hot,
in San Diego, but to hear unreal to hear American fans cheering and shouting for Wrexham, in America. I mean, we would never have thought about that 3 years ago. But what was there, 50,000 at the first game against Chelsea?
Yep.
And a good proportion of those fans were there for Wrexham.
Yep. Which
was phenomenal.
It's absolutely surreal. I tried to stay up for the first game. There was 2 games that were 12 at night kickoffs, weren't they? The Chelsea game and the Philadelphia Union. Both I had to stop at half time because first one I just fell asleep. Second one, it was the weather delay, wasn't it? We'll get back onto that later. But yeah, just the whole experience of finding out what our American listeners have to do, of being up at some kind of ungodly hour to pay attention to a game of football. It was an interesting experience. A good test for the lads as well. You've seen a lot of people complain about the fact that we were going to America online from a footballing point of view, not the tour aspect of it. But I think it's quite misguided, because if we'd have played here, we'd have probably played the Liverpool or United or Chelsea under 23s, which is essentially what we did anyway. And and then we'd have played a couple of League One standard clubs, which I think would be fair to say that Philadelphia and LA Galaxy's second teams are about sort of League Two, League One standards. So really, I know it's a different style of football, but we got the kind of preparation footballing wise that we would have done anyway, I'd say.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, a game is a game is a game, I think, to a great extent. I think a lot of those comments are made because lots of people in Britain are just automatically sniffy about the MLS without bothering to look at it and see how good it is as well. But I don't know that those two second teams were quite as strong as that, because they were both of varying strengths, because LA Galaxy picked pretty much as a youth team, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I thought you could see they were tidy players, but ultimately...
I mean, I've got to admit, I didn't watch that game.
Yeah.
I've only seen the highlights.
I mean, it's like, remember when Dean Saunders kept bringing in Premier League teenagers on loan because he reckoned their superior ability would be terrific, and a lot of them started well, but quickly were ground down by the reality of playing senior football. And I think it was a bit like that. They had some nice touches, nice passing movements, but ultimately they struggled to get out their own half because they were trying to keep her on the floor. You know, they'd been well coached, but they weren't able to get through our pressing, and ultimately we were a few levels above them. Whereas I thought Philadelphia Union's second team was a proper second team, I assume.
Yeah.
And they looked much more competitive, I thought.
They were quick on the ball as well, to be fair. Yeah.
But then, as you alluded to, that whole weather break thing. Now, to be fair, a 2-hour, 29-minute half-time, you know, it's the same for both sides. But we also changed our entire team, and whether that mattered or just happenstance, I don't know. But they seemed to cope much better than we did with having that long break, because we came out the second half and really weren't at it for quite a while, were we? So
yeah, it was a funny one, because I remember it's probably close to 10 years ago. Do you remember when England were due to play Poland and there was a huge thunderstorm? I think it was a European qualifier of some sort, I can't remember. And Roy Hodgson came out and said, well,
So you watch the England games?
I didn't watch it, I just remember it happening. don't tell me with that, Russ. I will do everything I can to avoid an England game.
shocking.
The weather saved me for this one. But no, all seriousness, there was a storm and they rearranged it for the day after. And I remember Roy Hodgson was complaining because he said, well, all the players have taken their caffeine, they're not going to sleep tonight, they're going to be tired tomorrow. And I think, like you say, it is the same for both sides. I don't know what the nutritional side is going on for Wrexham, so I wouldn't want to say that they're all pumped up with caffeine. But there is that sort of, you gear yourself up to be playing. The muscles are going to get tired if you've warmed up during that first half. There's going to be that fatigue that sets in, and even just like the mental fatigue of, when are we starting again?
And the time difference as well. Like
Time
they've thrown over
difference.
from the west coast to the east coast.
Yeah, and even Philadelphia's players, I know it was a second string team, but they're probably halfway through their season, so they've got that bit of fitness behind them that maybe we didn't. So it's one of those, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a great PR coup for the American fans. To see the Wrexham team out in America. I think it was fantastic. And see they put a tent to the turf there, didn't they? The turf tent there.
Yeah, that was cool, to be fair.
Rex the Dragon was there even. They flown Rex over.
Yeah.
How they got Rex on an airplane, I don't know, but
I believe, like Mr. T, you have to get him drunk first.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Or maybe he flew using his wings.
Maybe so. And then they did, they went into one of the local hospitals, some of the players,
That's fantastic.
And sat with the cancer patients, the kids. It was great to see that the players doing that part of the PR side, as well as going in and signing autographs for the fans. I think it was a great experience for the players and the Wrexham fans who went over. I know quite a few fans went over from Wrexham as well to watch it. But yeah, I think the heat would have been a killer for both teams on the west coast. But all in all, I've said I'd have liked to have seen them play a couple of games over here. But I think because we've got such a big American fan base now, and I'm sure that will increase again when this second documentary comes out. It was good for them to see Wrexham play live, with them to travel 2,500 miles to come watch them at the racecourse. And that may draw a lot of those fans over to Wrexham and benefit, the football club, the town, and the businesses in Wrexham with all these new fans coming over.
Yeah, 100%. these kind of things can only ever be positive, and there's a reason the Premier
of
League's
course.
do it year
Yeah.
in, year out, isn't there? You know, anyone who wants to question that might need something
I
to think.
did question after the first game when we got thumped 5-0 against Chelsea, and I thought, oh, what have we let ourselves in for? But to be fair, after that, we really held our own, you know. We won 2, drew 1 and lost 1, which is, you know, pretty good start because, you know, they haven't done much match fitness out of full 90 minutes at all before they went out there, and that's a bit of a concern this coming Saturday with jet lag coming back, because I know what it's like coming back from America. I mean, you really suffer, don't you, when you come back from the States with jet lag, and I just hope they're up to full fitness levels come Saturday.
Well, I've never had a problem with jet lag, but then I am the concrete donkey.
That's your new motto.
The Chelsea game, I was really pleased with, to be honest.
Yeah. It's just a
Because
result.
that was a very strong Chelsea side, and our performance levels were good, and we didn't just defend, we created, we went at them. Mullin was scaring them. I was really pleased with that as a sort of preparation for the season, to be honest. But I think there's only one of us three that would know for certain, but I think that the robin is not a migratory bird. What do you reckon, Neil?
Definitely not.
Excellent. There you go. So he didn't fly over. That was silly talk.
Well, it's the dragon we're talking about, not Robin.
Oh, we haven't got a robin anymore, have we?
Oh, Mark.
Oh,
No,
the Robin's settled in America anyway.
I'd like to see the Robin back, to be
Yeah,
honest.
the suit's in America, isn't it? Have you not seen?
Is it?
Yeah.
Somebody bought the...
Yeah.
The two of them on the pitch on the pushback, oh, they were the days, I tell you. What was his missus called? Rockin' Robin.
Tina
Tina
Turner.
Turner.
And then Rockin' Robin's son, because a friend of mine was the guy who used to wear the Rockin' Robinson.
Them were the days.
Tina Turner,
Rockin' Robinson, I forgot that.
which is crazy because you don't give your child the same first name and a different surname, do you?
Yeah,
Rockin' Robin and Rockin' Robin. Yeah, unless Rockin' is the nickname.
Unless you're
Robin.
Icelandic.
Yeah, of course, it could be
Yeah.
Icelandic, yeah, because
Yeah,
they're all the
yeah.
son of somebody.
But anyway, well, everyone is essentially, apart from Macduff and Macbeth, of course, because he was from his mother's womb and timely ripped. But that's a different story, everybody. How about one of Uncle Griff's bedtime stories?
Uncle Griff's bedtime stories.
So, games that had interruptions in them, Wrexham games, that is.
Okay.
I've got to admit, the first one I've probably mentioned before, Andy Parkinson and I commentating at Kidderminster on the season that we got promoted. They demolished one of their stands. They had a camera scaffolding in front of it. It was a very windy day, and the scaffolding was blown onto the pitch. Thank God the play was on the other side of the pitch, because someone could have got really badly hurt. But the problem for us was we were live on Wrexham Player, and we didn't know how long it would be before the game restarted. All the players went off the pitch, and there was a lovely old lady sitting in the row in front of us who...
Offer you cups of tea, did she?
Well, no, she was really sweet, but she clearly was in her season ticket seat because everyone was chatting to her, everyone knew her, the press all knew her, and yet she seemed to think that we were talking to her, not commentating. And it was just a bit unnerving because Andy and I were both well-brought boys, you know. And we sort of didn't want to ignore her, but we were commentating. And so we tried to frame sort of what we were describing to sound like an answer to her as well. And then she was a godsend when the game stopped, because we basically interviewed her about Kidderminster's season and things like that.
Brilliant.
I don't think she realised that she was on air. I think she just chatted to us. What a lovely lady she was. And then the start of the next season, that was at the end of the season, Lee Trundle scored 2 terrific goals. We got promoted. And then the start of the next season, we were playing at Preston. And again, we had a pause. I was on my own, I think, on this one, so I had to really, get out the banjo and everything. Because they had like a stall selling chips in the back of the stand, and it caught fire. And the game was going on, and suddenly all this smoke was coming across the pitch. You're thinking, ooh, this doesn't look healthy, does it? So yeah, again, they had to evacuate the players. They put the fire out, the fire brigade came, put it out, and the game resumed.
And speaking of Kidderminster and delays, there was also the ghost goal, which maybe wasn't a huge delay, but that was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Explain the ghost goal.
The ghost goal, we were getting absolutely battered by Kidderminster, and then go and score a goal a little bit on the break. but the ball went through the net. So it went in, it was in, but it was right next to the post, and there was that little bit of like just the net, and it just slightly broken, and it had gone through. The ref didn't believe it had gone in, because in fairness, you're from a distance and you see the ball not in the back of the net. You're not going to believe the ball's gone into the back of the net. But Kidderminster's away stand is very close to the goal, so everybody saw that ball travel through past the post and in and then out of the net. And there was just a bit of a delay while she consulted with her officials, while the Wrexham crowd were going absolutely bleeding mental behind the goal. There's some viral clips of it online, definitely worth a look. And I think at one point a bloke even got onto the pitch and lied down across the goal line to stop play from carrying on, whilst everyone was trying to convince the ref that the ball has gone in.
And my recollection as well, because I was commentating on it, was I was right behind Cieslewicz when he hit the shot, so I could see it went in. And the whole Wrexham team were chasing the referee around, and like I said, she just didn't have the right angle, so she just couldn't see that it had gone in, so naturally thought it hadn't. And what really irked me when it all settled down was that the fourth official was directly in line with my view of the shot. So I strongly suspect the fourth official could see it went in. And also, okay, maybe that's supposition, but she went to the linesman on the far side and was consulting. Obviously, that linesman didn't have a clue. And then eventually, after all this hassle, she came over to the other side to consult the fourth official, and he told her, obviously, it was a goal, because she then gave a goal. Why didn't
Did she not find a hole in the net? She's not going to have a look for it?
I can't remember. But
Okay.
I mean, the fact of a hole in the net doesn't prove the ball went through it, does it, I suppose? But the thing is, well, my issue with the fourth official is that they did have the walkie-talkies there, and he clearly hasn't said, oh, I saw what happened, until she's actually gone in the wrong direction, spoken to people, come back, by which time she's copped a lot of stick from the Wrexham players, understandably, and then actually the bloke said, yeah, I saw it. And then, of course, what happens is, well, he got the role of Boise on Only Fools and Horses, obviously, Maureen. And then the whole Kidderminster team chased her around for a bit, didn't they? It's like Benny Hill.
That sounds a bit more like the green grass mark, that.
That's the same character.
I know, but that's how you sounded like.
But that's because he was playing the same character.
I know, but you said Only Fools and Horses, but you sounded just like the green grass, I'm sorry.
It's the same actor playing the same character.
Okay.
With the same vocal cords. Morning. I don't know whether the title of this one should be Marlene, Pig Oil, or Thanks to Bank Street Social.
Yeah.
Thanks to Bank Street
for hosting us.
Very much to Bank Street Social for hosting us. But speaking of Boise, we've just signed a player with the nickname Boise, isn't it? I'm sure we call him, Will Boyle.
Is his nickname Boise?
Sure, his nickname is Boise.
Why?
Well, because Boyle, Boyce is quite...
Oh, that's weak, isn't it?
I mean, footballers' nicknames are very rarely invented when they went over footballers give them. Our only signing of the summer, though.
Yeah.
How do we
So
feel
far?
about it? So far, yes. Oh, yeah. So far, because this is going to have to be edited before it goes out, and we may sign someone before then, we may not. So far as we know, the only signing.
Let's just be silent for a couple of seconds so that we can insert a voice clip.
So I just go...
And of course, Rex, yes, you do that to the camera, and then we'll have a voice clip saying, and of course, Wrexham bought Luis Suarez. Which Wrexham player can predict the behaviour of kettles? Will Boyle.
Yeah. Wow.
But did we need to add many players to a squad that is already a great squad?
No, we don't.
You
as
know,
long as you don't lose any.
And I think that's what is great about Parkinson.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of Paul Mullin sitting in Rob McElhenney's house watching that.
We've skipped the big part of American tour, so there we go. I didn't think we had to sign many players anyway, because we've got such a good squad already. And Parkinson is very, I wouldn't say cheesy, but he's very, he picks the right players he's going to fit into the squad.
Astute.
Very astute. I mean, he's not one to go out and sign 4 or 5 new signings hoping they're going to fit in the squad. I think they look in depth at their player. Everybody's come to Wrexham has really settled into the squad, become part of the squad, and got behind, really enjoy playing there. And I think that's why we haven't signed, 3 or 4 players. And, you know, because we got promoted, I'm sure there's people out there he may looked at and want silly money to come to Wrexham, which again, he'd turn them down.
Yeah.
So.
And he comes having played with Tozer before, so you know the research's been done there, and he scored something like 8 goals, was it, off Tozer throw-ins? Maybe, whether they were all off Tozer throw-ins, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he scored 8 goals in the season they played with each other. He's essentially coming in to replace Harry Lennon, although I'd imagine he'll get a lot more starts than Lennon did, and yeah, good signing all round, I think, isn't it?
I think we
Totally agree with you, yeah.
I don't think he's a Lennon replacement personally. Insofar as we're looking for that, I think it's more he's a player that Parkinson feels can bring added
to the
quality.
squad.
to what
Replacing
they have.
possibly the wrong word, he fills that
Yeah.
gap, doesn't he?
Yeah. Is
Lennon
Tony
left.
Cliff injured at the moment as well, is he?
Yeah.
Tony Cliff
Yes.
injured? Yeah.
But it leaves us in that amazing situation of, if we say that Tozer is captain, or he's a Gorope as a central player in the back three.
Yeah.
And that Boyle is brought in as an upgrade, so he plays left side of the back three. You've got, O'Connell and Tony Cliff and Cleworth and Hayden all
Hayden's back,
fighting
yeah.
for one place.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Absolutely crazy.
I mean, it was good to see going back to America, Hayden scoring again, from a set piece with a header on the back post. We missed that so much when he got injured last season, at the end of last season. What he was on, like 11 goals when he got injured, which was a fantastic score,
Yeah. 11 in February.
In February
For a centre-back.
for a centre-back, which is nuts,
Crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely, and hopefully he's on fire this season because he scored some. He was the one player from, and we when we lost him, we lost the effectiveness of that long through from Tozer.
Yeah,
because
and I
he
think-
was the player that would always get his head because he's arrived late in the box, and he gets so much height, when he jumps off that ground, and he scored so many goals from the long throw-ins, and good to see him working together again.
For me, Ollie Palmer's effectiveness from throw-ins and corners went down when Hayden was injured, just because he was being double marked instead of Hayden being double marked.
Correct, yeah.
Um,
And it was good for Doyle, to sign before they flew out to America, so he could join the squad out in America, and get that training and the match games with the current squad. So, I mean, he signed, and I think he had a good time out there and a good tour with the lads out in America.
You're mentioning the astute recruitment of Parkinson. Certainly in Richard Sutcliffe's interview with him in The Athletic, Boyle came over extremely well and came over as somebody who was absolutely thrilled to be with us,
Especially when you think you're signing a player who was playing in the Championship,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. One negative from the US tour that also sort of links into potential transfers is the injury to Paul Mullin. It doesn't take a rocket surgeon to realise.
A rocket surgeon?
I've never heard of a rocket surgeon, have you?
No. Remember when Apollo 13 sprained its ankle?
Rocket scientist, you mean?
I
know what you
genuinely
meant.
on purpose for once.
I know.
Rocket surgeon, brain scientist, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Pig sickness.
No, pig whisperer.
Big whiff, doesn't take a pig surgeon to realise that Mullin is one of our. No, he's our most important player, isn't he? Let's be frank.
Definitely so.
We can all try and downplay his involvement or
He's
play
a
our
goal
own
machine.
players. He is our talisman. He's our most important player. So to lose him for any amount of games is detrimental. Although I believe that it's not quite as bad as first feared. The only main problem is that because of the nature of the injury, he can't fly until
10 days, wasn't it? Something?
Yeah. So
I refuse to believe that Paul Mullin can't fly. I think that man can do anything.
you just hop on the back of Rex the Dragon and
Get a lift home.
Get a lift home, yeah.
Yeah, just fly at low sea level. You'll be fine, wouldn't he? Yeah.
How many times I have to tell you Robins do not migrate?
We're talking about Dragon.
I'm trying to save face here.
You can tell we're a little bit out of practice. It's been
Oh, that's nice.
It's
isn't
been
it?
a long
No,
pre-season,
that's
hasn't it?
It is
All
going
right,
to be.
I'll start talking sensibly if you want. If that's what the people want.
Hopefully
I
it
don't
won't.
think they do. That's it.
No, that's the thing.
problem.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be a miss for the first couple of games. You know, we got Dolby, we got Palmer, we got I can't remember the lad because he didn't even Waters. He didn't even play a game for us during the season, did he?
We came on as a sub in the second half of the last match, didn't he? That was it.
And I have seen very little of him, of his ability, whatever. So we've got the options there, but you could always guarantee with Mullin he was going to score a goal, couldn't you? So
Yeah.
he wasn't a goal sitter, he wasn't sitting in the 6-yard box. He created his own goals, as we saw against Boreham Wood. The 2 goals he scored against Boreham Wood when we gained promotion was just sublime.
Yeah.
Absolute top
Yeah.
draw. So yeah, it's going to be a big miss, but I think we've got the players in the squad who will actually, and I'm sure Parky's been working on that since they've got back from the States to get the new front 2 working together. I'm sure it'll be Mike Palmer and Dolby starting, I would have thought, on Saturday.
I'm glad you said that, because I think people want to pigeonhole players too much, sort of like Mullin and then who's his partner, Palmer or Dolby. I don't see why they can't work together as a
correct,
pair.
Yeah. No.
And Dolby's more mobile, although, having said that, Palmer will drift around to good areas, but, neither of them are real sort of fixed point target men. They're both capable of playing as a pair, I think, and playing off each other.
You can definitely make a case that Palmer's better with his feet than he is in the air as well. He's fantastic with his feet. He's a player that before he signed for Wrexham was playing in League One, and he was Wimbledon's top scorer. So he's got that ability, and there's no reason why. Well, a battering ram's good for breaking down a door, but 2 battering rams.
Well, I mean, hell of a door.
Yeah.
Dolby came on leaps and bounds last season, didn't he?
Did,
His confidence grew, he scored on the tour in America, which will do his confidence know when to good. And I think he's a decent player,
Yeah.
Real decent player.
Well, Parkinson implied, didn't he, that he would look for another striker.
Yeah.
And, okay, if you want to fill out the ranks, fair enough. But when people talk about a Mullin replacement, you can't replace Mullin. You're not going to be able to bring in a player.
No,
well, if you are bringing a player in of that quality, then you're going to have to guarantee him a regular's place.
Yeah, and they don't come cheap. And clubs don't want to let go of players like
perhaps
that.
He's knocking on Notts County's door. We don't know,
But certainly, as well as the 2 big lads, I think Waters is a good player. I thought he looked very lively in America, and I think he's got something about him. He's not going to score as many goals as Mullin, but he's got good movements, and he holds the ball up pretty well.
He was obviously brought in for a reason, and Parky saw something in him which he could add to the team and bring to the team. So, we may see that in the next 3 or 4 games while Mullin's out. But fair play to Mullin, he's been well looked after in America, isn't he? He's been staying with Rob.
Yeah, having his pillows plumped up.
I'm sure he had his pillows plumped up.
I mean, he's Waters as well. I mean, I'm sure maybe foremost in Barnston's mind is in the EFL, you have 7 subs. So we need a bit more depth in that sense. But, you bring him in, and in this sort of situation, you give him his chance.
It's why you have depth, isn't it? You don't buy players for the sake of just saying, we need squad depth, or that we need to use the squad depth now, so that
one negatives is players aren't going to come and sit on the bench or wanting to come and sit on the bench. They want to come and play in the team, but that's the scenario we got, and it's a good situation to be in.
And don't get me wrong, bringing in a good striker, I'm never going to argue against
Keep
that.
them on the toes.
But we've also got Jake Bickerstaff, who I think is liable to get loaned out this season.
Altrincham
might mess that up a bit.
I saw him against Altrincham when we played him in the cup game. I thought he was, he's going to be a special player as well. He's a good player. He's a good player on the ball. He knows where the goal is. So got him to lean back on too. So
fantastic opportunity for Bickerstaff to actually put himself in the shop window for the loan market. The likelihood is that he'd probably go to a National League team. You'd expect, because we're not going to loan someone to another League 2 team, so it's National League downwards. Those clubs aren't bound by the same transfer window as us, so if they want to loan him, but then he can stay with us until Mullin's fully fit and then move on.
But we're forgetting we've actually got a reserves team now as well. So it's not as he's not missing out on games. He's just not he's missing out on first team games. But it's so important having that reserve reserve league now, and then players getting a match week in, week out. Against decent quality opposition as well. So would he want to go out on loan? I mean,
I think so.
I
think
we've still got Tom O'Connor at Wrexham, and he was linked to going to Coventry, and
that's a different stage of career, isn't it?
I know.
Needs either to develop or to be in the shop window for a move,
we don't need to move anybody out anymore. Years ago maybe we'd have to. No, not at all.
No, I think loaning him out in terms of developing him.
Oh.
He's already scoring for the reserves pre-season.
But
as well.
would he develop more with a National League team than he would under the guidance of the coaching staff we've got here at Wrexham playing in the reserve team?
It needs to be the right team,
Yeah.
the right club. Because the squad and the club are two different things, aren't they? And he needs to be going under the guise of you're going to play at least 20 to 30 games a season, not just going to sit on somebody else's bench. Because if he does that,
there's no point in going.
Yeah. If he goes to, let's say, a club like Gateshead, who play quite nice football, even though they're a bit lower down, and he's going to play every week, then I think he should. But if he's not going to, you're right, it's pointless, really.
And it's a good question as well. Will he develop more moving on loan, or having the coaches
and the quality playing staff we've got here at Wrexham?
True.
Yeah.
But I think that it's that. Like I said about the players Saunders brought in, it's a toughening up process, and I think
possibly
having a session at National League level and playing regularly would do the world good for him.
Won't you get that in the reserve team?
See,
when you get that in the reserve team?
The stakes,
not the same,
isn't
is
it?
it?
The stakes. You play him for, let's say, Gateshead or Altrincham. They have to be successful to either aim for playoffs, maybe, or avoid relegation. If you play in the reserve league, it is just a runaround, isn't it? Every week.
If you were a Wrexham player, would you want to go now to the likes of Gateshead or Altrincham to go out on loan?
No, you might not want to go, but you might also realise it's your it's the best
to get first team football, maybe.
It's not a straightforward answer.
Oh gosh, no, not at all.
You never know. The chances are, with the time frame we've got now, he's probably going to sit on the bench on Saturday, and he might come on and back the brace like Elliot Lee did last year. So
it's 5 subs that come on.
7. To come on.
7 on the bench, 5 to come on. I think.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting as well.
I think.
Well, we missed the big elephant in the room when we skipped past Mullin's injury, how he got his injury in America.
So we are going to, rather than be non-experts and give a non-expert opinion, after this is going to be an opinion from Mike the Ref.
Hello and welcome to Mike the Ref's contribution to Dragonheart. A little bit of background: I am back in Wrexham and I help out at an animal sanctuary, so I am now doing this for Mark Griffiths, leader Esquire, in our goat sanctuary. As you can see, goats behind us, I call them Mullin, Foster and Lee. So I've been asked to look at the challenges and the red card in the Wrexham versus Manchester United game at the Snapdragon Stadium, San Diego. So what happened? We'll start with the second one first, the easiest one. So another look at the goats. Challenge on cannon by goal. It was late, it was a red card. Let's get to the point. Why was it a red card? Well, United players gone in, the studs up at speed and took the player's bottom of the ankle. Referee, when you look at it, was bending down in a cracking position at a good view, red card. And the players' reactions were a little bit telltale there. You could see that goats are moving. Jordan Davis wasn't too happy with it, and a few other players. So straight red card. The law states serious foul play if it is a fast tackle with the studs up and it hits the player and the player has lost an element of control. You should go to fighting. That should be a red card. So no issues with that. As I say, the referee was perfectly positioned. Now the second one, the Mullin challenge. Tough one. Always difficult as a referee. So I'm going to look at this from the laws of the game, refereeing perspective. I think it would be difficult to red card the United keeper for that. The ball's gone up, ball's come through, the keeper's come off his line. Why he needs to be off his line? There, it's a decision for them. Referees, remember, aren't coaches. There to apply and look at the laws of the game. Referee would probably have a straight angle, so we're probably looking straight at it, so probably not the best angle. Assistant referee would be following the ball. When you look, Mullin and turn slightly towards the assistant referee on that side, so the assistant referee probably wouldn't have a great view. So what's happened is, ball's come over, Mullin's gone to try and head the ball on, keeper's come, he looks like he's dropped his hands. So as he dropped his hands to go into Mullin's chest to foul, because he knew if Mullin had nodded the ball around him, he would be through on goal. Or as he just come in, you see Mullin come, nod the ball, he's lost his footing and then gone in, mistimed the challenge. From a refereeing point of view, that one hit, I would say, tough decision, no red card. Looking back at the footage, you could argue the keeper dropped his hands and it could be violent conduct. However, I think you're clutching at straws. So I think Mullin was unlucky. The keeper probably committed himself unnecessarily. However, the laws of the game were applied correctly there. And unfortunately, if I was assessing that, I would be supporting the referee in the actions that he took on that day, even on review, because you've got to look at the referee's position, the speed of the challenge, and what chance has the referee got of picking up any violent conduct there, especially when it's low down into the chest. Keeper was cute. Mullin probably didn't expect it. A combination of both has caused the injury. So let's head on a high. Let's look at some more goats. So there they are. Mullin, the goat, as you can see, is fitting well in its pen. So let's look forward to the new season and probably some more Dragonheart information from the Animal Sanctuary here in Bradley. Follow me on Twitter, Mike the Ref, on Mike the Ref 1974. I'll put a link on for this wonderful place if anybody feel the need to give any donations to our wonderful goats and other animals. I'm Mike the Ref, and this is Dragonheart.
We have 3 lovely new kits with a lot of character that have just been released. If you want to use those segues, feel free to cut or not cut, man. The home kit, what do we think? Home, away, third kit?
I really like the home kit. It's just spoiled by something, but I'm not going to mention it. But yeah, I really like the home kit.
Help me.
I love all 3 kits, and you can purchase them now online at the Wrexham AFC official club
Can we not
store.
be impartial on this, because we're.
Okay, so right, we're all in agreement that all 3 kits are amazing, and you should purchase them right now. But if you had to choose one kit to purchase, which would you choose, Neil?
The red one, definitely.
Are you?
I just don't like dark colours, I'm not a grey or a black. No.
But my mum is in this boat. Are you like a home kit only sort of person?
No. I've got the green away kit from last season. I've had the blue away kit, so it's just black.
You're not keeping black kits, Neil?
Nah, not at all.
I'm going to completely go 180 on that opinion, and I absolutely love the black kit. And it's nice that we're back in the Football League. The club took a bit of a gamble producing a black kit because they're not allowed in the National League, are they? Although we'd have probably been okay wearing them in cup competitions. But that black kit is a thing of beauty in my eyes. Love it. How about you, Mark?
Well, funny you should ask, but as the Gokwan of football, I'm going to say
it's
something.
It's a nice comparison, actually.
It's not bad, is it? Yeah.
You just need to higher your voice tone a little bit, though.
Oh, fair enough. I'll work on it while you're oiling your pig.
I don't need to work on that.
Oh, I'm sure you're an expert. You've got plenty of experience.
I'm an expert at pig oiler.
Don't call you Neil the pig greaser for no reason, do they?
No, grease and oil are 2 different things.
Okay.
Yeah, totally different. You grease a pig up when you have a competition for catch a greasy pig.
Simple tale of country.
Oiling a pig is oiling them to make them look beautiful when you show them in a show.
That field, and many fields.
You will have to send us pictures
Of your oily pigs, or greasing up your pigs, and it happens a lot in America. You know, they grease up the pigs, and the first one who can catch a greasy pig is the winner. You know.
This was not a conversation I was expecting.
Well, you keep bringing up greasy pigs.
It probably wasn't the answer you expected.
No.
Which kit do you like most?
No.
And yet there it is. The red one and the black one, I think, look a lot nicer in real life than in photographs. I'll say that first. When I first saw the red one, I thought, oh, that's not that exciting. But once I actually saw it in the wild, I thought, oh, that's a nice shirt. But I'm going to go probably left field. Probably wasn't the answer you expected. You love which kit you liked most as well. I can't like it.
See, now I wasn't too sure on it at first, but then when I saw the clips from the game when they played in it, the green shorts and the green socks going with it, made it look a lot classier.
Yeah.
I got the white shirt on the way when it eventually gets actually sold to the public.
Have you asked Father Christmas for it? Have you?
No, no. The pre-order was a birthday present.
Ah, right. Okay.
Oh yeah, no. Father Christmas would have sorted that out for me as well, wouldn't it? Damn it! I could have had a birthday present with something else and gone that route.
It's like a bebop Ajax shirt.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I know. I like it. It's grown on me. I wasn't too sure.
I like the others as well, to be fair. But yeah, I quite like that one. It's a bit different.
Yeah, and it's just nice for us to have kits that have got some thought into it. So you know, the black kit, it's the whole coal heritage, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a call back there.
Is that the way they brought the black kit out? Is it?
The pattern at the bottom of the black kits is got a slightly grey tone to it. Is apparently inspired by our coal mining history. The home kit has got a collar that I've not really seen us ever have before, so that's quite unique. And the third shirt, we've had a lot of white kits. We've had a lot of white with a bit of. Have we had much white with green? We had the shirt. The last third kit was white and green, but it's completely different to it somehow, even though it's the same colour scheme. So yeah, a lot of thought's been put into it. I have been Bill. This is Neil. This is Mark, and this has been Dragonheart.
I'm Gareth Owen, and this is Dragonheart.